The euro and the pound sterling continue trading sideways. In our video review on InstaForex TV channel, we will find out how long this situation may last. At the beginning of the trading day, the pound sterling was supported by quite strong macroeconomic reports. As a result, it gained in value. According to the initial estimate in the first quarter, a decline in the UK GDP slowed down to 6.1% from 7.3%. The UK industrial production data turned out to be also positive. The indicator advanced by 3.6% after a drop of 3.5%. Economists had expected a smaller rise of 2.9%. In any case, the UK economy is reviving, thus encouraging market participants. At the same time, the euro has almost stagnated, as the Eurozone industrial production figures are slightly below the forecast. Analysts had predicted a jump of 11.5% after the slump of 1.8% in the previous months. In fact, the indicator climbed by 10.9% on a yearly basis. Nevertheless, the result is really impressive. However, the market situation may change at the beginning of the year's trade. Market participants are concerned about the US inflation rise. The indicator may accelerate to 3.8% from 2.6%. Curiously, 2 months ago, the country's inflation totaled just 1.7%. In other words, the indicator is rapidly increasing. It has already exceeded the Fed's targeted level of 2%. As a rule, such economic conditions lead to higher key interest rates. However, neither markets nor the US economy is ready for such changes. If the US Fed announces such a possibility in advance, businesses will have time to prepare for the changes. However, the regulator seems to be ignoring the problem. Thus, it may take unexpected steps if the predictions come true. Of course, such a possibility causes panic among investors. In the worst-case scenario, the US dollar will face a massive sell-off. A rise is likely to be recorded in all the currencies of the world, including the euro and the pound sterling. Yesterday, the euro-dollar pair continued hovering between the levels of 1.2115 and 1.2180, displaying rather low activity. That's why there was no use to enter the market. Analyzing the current chart, we can see that during the Asian session, the bearish sentiment prevailed. As a result, the quotas slid to the lower limit of the range located at 1.2180. As such, inactivity is likely to take place after the price fixes beyond the levels of 1.2100 and 1.2180. In other words, traders are focused on a downward impulse. At the same time, on May 11, the pound-dollar pair failed to leave the stagnation phase. As a result, the accumulation process between the levels of 1.41 and 1.4165 became even more active. On the trading chart, we can see that the pair has been hovering between the levels of 1.41 and 1.4165 for more than 24 hours. This, in turn, has affected speculators' interest. The trading strategy is still based on a break-off at the limit of this range. And that's all for now. We keep monitoring the financial market situation. Subscribe to our channel and see you in several hours. We will take a close look at the US trading session.